Hi everyone, I hope you're well. So I got some great feedback from my dear friend Elisa, who pointed out that to watch a static screen of just a fixed something, it doesn't really keep the attention in the same way. And she suggested that I continue to show my gorgeous face in the video. So thank you, Lisa, for that feedback. It was very helpful. Also, thanks to anyone else who's given feedback. And again, I welcome and encourage and appreciate that going forward. If you can take the time to do that, I really do appreciate comments and thoughts and considerations. So, hi. I hope you're all well. And here we are with our weekly reading. This is Monday, March 30th, and this is our weekly reading for my Ask Miss Amie Facebook page, in which I invite everyone to pick a card, 1, 2, or 3, and then I give the messages. Now, if you didn't see the video on Saturday and have not already chosen a card, that's fine. You can feel free to pause the video now or in a moment and take a second to just connect into your inner self, and then choose which cards which message you want to choose this week, whether it be number 1, which is the unicorn this week, number 2, which is this little whale, or number 3, which is a penguin. So after you've done that, then you can just start the video up again and come back. All right, I'm going to get started with our underlier. So our first underlier this week is fertility, and I really love that this card came up this week because it really seems pretty perfect with it being our first full week of spring here in the Northern Hemisphere. Everything coming to life. But this card really does speak about our own personal nurturing and growth of the things that we hold most near and dear. I wanted to show you the other, this is the traditional tarot version of the card, which is the Empress. And the Empress is about fertility. She's about growth. She's about hope and about manifestation of our cherished dreams, things that we've worked hard on coming to fruition. But it's also about patience. Here's another version of the Empress for people to look at. She's also about patience and about really using our strength, our own divine strength, in order to tap into our intuitive aspects. Here she's got the moon here and the water, and this all speaks of our intuition, and to be able to really bring the things of that we hold most near and dear deep down in, and to really root them in our decision making and in our process and in what it is we want to focus on going forth. It also speaks of being patient in that process. As you know, in order for a plant to grow, you can't just will it to grow instantly. You have to care for it, give it the right water, tend it with the right amount of sunlight and love and care and nurturing, and keep it from withering and dying. So this is the energy part of the energy that we're working with this week. And then the other underlier that I have is, too many cards here, the universe. And I love these two cards together. I love how this speaks of the completion of a cycle. So when I put these two cards together for our underlying energy, what I see here is, we really are at a major completion in like the large sense in terms of the universe. We're at the end of a 26,000 year cycle. We're at the end of another like 500 and something year cycle. All these crazy things going on astrologically in our universe that haven't occurred in many, many years. And when we look back in history at times that we have a record of in which these things have occurred in the past, there has been major transition and change on planet Earth. So I think that if any of us were doubting that we were entering into a whole new cycle, a whole new playing field, the events of the last few weeks have probably convinced you otherwise. So I also want to speak to how this card talks about what's going on for those of us who are being asked to stay in our homes, which at this point is pretty much all of America, if not specifically in your area. I know that most areas are doing that, and that the presidential team got on last night and announced that they are actually going to be having all of America practice the presidential guidelines for the next 30 days, or the next until the end of April. It's more than 30 days now, but anyways. So essentially, this is life as we are going to be experiencing it for at least another month. They talked about June being the time when they feel like things may possibly have reached the bottom of that curve again, and we can start looking at getting things back to what our new normal will be. So this also, if you look at her, she's in this enclosed space. And so I feel like this is also speaking to that, that us really looking at how, okay, I think I said something about this last week, that we can look at what we're being asked to give up, or we can look at what we're being invited to create anew. And so these two cards really speak to that a lot in terms of our underlying energies this week. And I think that's it for that for now. So I'm going to get started on the next cards. Hold on just one second. Welcome back. So here we are with message number 1. So if you chose 1 with the little unicorn, this is your message. So the first card we have here, stand your ground. This is about a time of being tested and really relying on your own inner strength and resolve and knowingness, and also about not taking things personally, to recognize that whatever test you're undergoing at this time, it's not about anything you did or didn't do right or wrong. This is something beyond you, something you have no control over. I think it is very fitting with what's happening right now. I think even the imagery, if you look at it, is pretty appropriate for this whole coronavirus thing. If we've got this thing with the rays coming out of it, and then this looks kind of like spiky things, and here is this person who is, standing strong, taking care of themselves and the ones that they care most about, in order to really, stay in that place of resolve and strength, and to not give in to letting any kind of fear or worry or chaos overtake that strength. The 7 here is also about, thinking. It's about really manifesting your most highest ideal thoughts, not just acting from from knee-jerk reaction, but really putting serious thought into what is going on. So I feel like this speaks of being, cautious at this time. It really is important for those who are not being careful. It is important for you to do what they're asking us to do, and to stay safe, not only for yourself, but for, other people out there. There are people who are dying. Our death toll is over 2,000 now here in the United States, and this is real. This isn't false news. This isn't fake. This isn't anything any of us can deny, All we can do is we can stay strong and stay in our resolve. The next card here, sacrifice, also, speaks in, ties well into all of what I was just saying. This is about, not only being asked to make sacrifice, but it's also about really being in a place where you can't move forward. You don't have a choice. It's not something that you are able to really do much of anything about. In the traditional tarot, this is the Hanged Man. And if you look at this guy here, you can see, his hands are bound, his foot is tied, he's got one foot free. He's not getting out of there anytime soon. But he also looks very calm and centered. And the energy around this card has a lot to do with this idea of allowing yourself, I don't want that up there, of allowing yourself to be taken to this place that I was speaking of here, this place of higher thinking, this place of, removing yourself from the emotional response to the situation, seeing it from a higher perspective, and allowing yourself to be with the circumstances that are happening right now without resisting or struggling. If you look at this guy, the more he struggles, the tighter those knots are getting, because his weight is pulling down on those knots. There's no way that he can struggle his way out of that, and so if you look here, you see that her hands they're not tied, but she's surrendering them. She's stuck in this muck, but she's surrendering to this, higher wisdom that's coming through, and this larger picture, and knowing that in time things will turn around, that she will get out of there. He knows that he will get his feet on the ground. They're not hanging this guy to kill him because he's hanging from his foot. He's not going to die here. He's being suspended for a reason, and wanting to gain clarity. And then over here we have intuition, which again ties in very nicely with these other two cards. This is also the High Priestess in the traditional tarot, and this is really about that divine wisdom that I keep talking about, going inside and allowing that part of yourself to be the part that speaks through, that gives you that strength when you feel like, holy shit, what's going on out here? Oh my God, what? And I also want to speak a little bit about the fact that these are both major arcana cards, because you'll see as I go through each of the messages that we have a lot of those this week. I think it was out of 9, 10, 11 cards with the 2 underliers. Out of 11 cards, 8 of them were major arcana. And major arcana talks about how this is a major soul life lesson. This isn't just about, the day-to-day stuff. This is deeper than all of that. So you really are, I know I say this a lot, you really are being asked and encouraged and invited here to tap into that higher wisdom that you possess, and to allow yourself to stay where you are and not feel like you have to try and get somewhere else right now, but allow yourself to be in that space, and allow yourself to really tune deeply into what it is that your soul is asking of you, what it is that your soul is inviting you to understand about what brings you strength. How have you worked hard to get to this place of strength? What is it that you are going to be focusing on moving forward? Right now, we're not going anywhere. And so you can, waste this time by watching TV and hanging out and, not doing anything constructive, which certainly you should do some of that. We all need to do some of that. But really, to dig deep and to get into it at this point in time is what we're all being asked to do. To really go into the places and spaces of what we most desire to create moving forward, because we're all going to be afforded an opportunity to step forward in new ways. This new growth that's coming in this new cycle is an undeniable thing that each and every one of us is now in the process of preparing for. So I invite you to take all of that in and to enjoy this time and to really, do some deep searching. And with that, I'll end message number 1 and I'll be right back with number 2. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. So this is message number 2, which was the center card with the whale. And so if you picked number 2, this is your message. All right. First thing I want to point out, for those who didn't listen to message number 1, we had a lot of major arcana cards in our cards this week. Out of the 11 cards of the whole, all, the 9 for the 1, 2, and 3 choice, and the 2 underliers, 8 out of the 11 were major arcana. So if you notice the ones with the black around the edge, those are major arcana. And major arcana cards really tell us that we're dealing with some bigger energies that are more about deeper soul lessons than just sort of some of the more day-to-day things, which may be represented in the minor arcana cards. And if you look at this one, you're going to see that all 5 of these cards are major arcana. So listen up, because this is a big message for you guys. We start out here with temptation, which in the traditional tarot is the Devil card. Okay. And the Devil card is about, here, there, you can see him a little better. There we go. And you get a good look at his creepy old face. All right, so not that I'm trying to scare you, but the Devil card is really about, those places and spaces inside that we are scared to look at, we are taught, we are supposed to ignore, the things inside that are not necessarily pretty or what we consider socially acceptable as a society, urges, ego, those kind of things that can be something that can cause trouble for us if we leave them unchecked or if we choose to constantly ignore them. So one of the important things to keep in mind with this energy is that all of the things that we think, all of the thoughts and urges and feelings that we have, they are just that. They're thoughts, feelings, and urges, and they come from somewhere deep in our subconscious. And the idea that we should feel some kind of way because we think some kind of way is not really true. One of the things that we learn as we work do work with shadow work, which is something that I've done a lot of work with, is that we can have those thoughts and feelings and we can look at them and allow them to come up without feeling like we have to put them anywhere, like we have to do anything about them. So what's important to keep in mind right now is that this time is inviting of us a lot of stuff is coming up for everyone. Our deepest fears, our darkest worries, that kind of stuff is coming up for a lot of people, as well as the fact that for those of us who are, sheltering in our homes, who live with other people who perhaps normally have a chance to get away from those people, are probably feeling a little like on top of each other by now. This is, I think, week 3 that we're doing this now. I lose track a little bit, but we've just been asked to uphold this idea of, staying home as much as humanly possible. until the end of April. So we're going to be doing this for a while more yet. So, when we're in those places where we are with people that we normally have a chance to get away from, we get to sort of let out some of that stuff in our own quietude, away from watchful eyes of other people or the ears or the energy of other people. And so right now, with being so much in our homes the way we are, we're not necessarily able to do that in such a comfortable way. So I'm guessing that might be coming up for some people. And what I advise on that is to make sure you're getting outside by yourself, away from everyone, and taking at least a short walk every day. If you're not able to walk because your body can't handle it, or if you're afraid to go out somewhere because you are, more susceptible to the virus, I would encourage you to at least go out in your yard somewhere and just sit and be quiet and really gather your own space away from everybody. Also, I highly recommend writing. I find that for me, using that energy in writing has been a very invaluable resource for me in terms of my own healing process. To know that I can write down whatever I want to, or what I'm feeling or thinking, and not judge myself, and to just be able to understand that this is part of me, like just sorting through all of the places and spaces and information and programming and thoughts and feelings and all of that it's a good thing to do that. So the other two cards here, that was a long time on one card, but I guess that was an important message for people to hear. So the next card we have is awareness, or in the traditional tarot, it is the Magician. And if you see this card, if you look at this card, you can see that this man is a man of power. He has a great deal of wisdom, but he has worked hard to attain it. And he is connecting in with the divine eternal energy up here. This is that kind of energy. This also, if you look at the other, which I don't seem to have here. Oh, here it is. If you look at I didn't show you this before, the traditional card for sorry, let me move a little closer. Here we go. If you look at this, the traditional card for the universe card up here, it's similar kind of thing, okay, where so here the magician has all of these tools to work with, and he's calling in his power. He has everything he needs right here. He has to focus very hard in order to continue to do that. But he has trained himself to do that and is willing to do that and devoted to that. That's how magicians achieve what they achieve, is they devote themselves to their art and their practice. And here we have the underlying energy, the universe, and these are those same potentials that are represented here, manifest in complete form. So what I'm getting at here, what I'm getting at here is that, I'm going to make this whole thing topple if I'm not careful here. Hang on one second. Sorry about that. So what I was saying is that we are being shown here again that we have the tools and the power and everything that we need, the universe, the divine guidance, all of that is within our ability to plant these seeds and to create the things that we want to create. This card here, patience, temperance. This is about, it's about blending the material and the etheric and or divine aspects, and putting the energy and the focus into that. If you see, she's focused intently on this seed, okay? Here I was talking about these seeds planting. And then if we look at Where is it? If we look at this Magician card, well, I guess he's not focusing down in the same way, but you can pretty much guarantee that this guy is focusing if he's trying to do some magic, because you can't do magic without focus. So my point here being that this is another very strong message here about this time. You can go into the darkness if you want to, and you can wrestle with it, and you can let fear and worry and all of that overtake you, and you can stay there and struggle through this time, or you can use this time to really work on, tapping into that power, and to focusing on what it is you want to be moving, what it is that you want to be focusing on going forward. Sorry, I saw something flash on the screen that said something about video size, and I got worried that perhaps I might end up having to cut this off and do a second video for the rest. So if that happens, I apologize. All right, so meanwhile, what I was saying is, you're really being strongly encouraged to utilize this time to plant those seeds of what it is that you want to focus on moving forward, and how it is you're going to grow the new life that you're going to be invited to grow when all of this is over. Because each and every one of us, as I said before, each and every one of us is being invited to do that right now. And it's not in our control. There's nothing we can do to change it. So if we go with the flow, then we will find that that we have that power that we desire, and we had it all along. And maybe this is a lesson for us to learn through this experience.